following is a presentation of Epic eSports Radio Network. Live from Oregon, broadcasting around the world, you're listening to the Coach's Corner Radio Show. Sit back as we provide in-depth analysis covering all your favorite sports. Football, baseball, soccer. There's not a sport that we don't cover. So step up to the plate. Get ready for a hit. We're putting on a show, and Coach Craven's hosting it. So without further ado, we proudly present to you your host, Coach Brian Craven.
Welcome and Merry Christmas. A couple days late. This is Coach's Corner, brought to you by Epic eSports. I'm your host, Brian Craven. Took ourselves a little holiday break, but we're back at it. Got a show for you today. We recorded this before Christmas and before the draft, so I don't remember anymore. Too much holiday cheer. We might have made some predictions. Who knows? Might have some egg on our face right now. Who knows? We'll find out. I should warn you ahead of time. I had a little technical issue with the recording, and it ended rather abruptly. But we were mostly finished anyway, and so it's a good show, and I think you're going to love it. I want to take a moment and say Merry Christmas. I hope it was memorable and wonderful. Everything you were looking for. I hope you got to spend it with loved ones. I hope everyone in your family is safe. I hope you are safe. And hey, can it be any worse than this last year? Probably not. Let's not go there, shall we? We got the new year coming up. It's a fresh start, and we're going to hope for the best. I'm going to choose hope, and I hope you'll join me in that. I am hoping to do more of these in the season coming up. I want to hit most of the front offices, in league, chat with some of their staff or all of the staff that I can, and give everyone a little bit of a window into some of these teams. And we're starting with Louisiana, so sit back and relax, enjoy listening to Ross and Mike Twinscrew and Gerald and Jeff and Robo. We're just gonna chat. We're just gonna talk some simulation football. Okay, we're here with the front office of the Louisiana Revolution. I think this is everyone. You guys got a lot of people on your staff. We missing anyone? Ross, you got anybody hidden out there that we need to get a hold of?
No, we got everybody here. We got all the important figures, all the decision makers right here.
Awesome. I feel intimidated by all this power. So why don't we, to get started and set the tone, there goes my phone. I'm going to fix that while I'm asking this question. Why don't we, to get started and start the tone, why don't you go around the room, so to speak? Oh, good God, shut up, phone. There we go. Why don't you go around the room and say your name, where you live, and your celebrity arranged marriage. All right? You weren't expecting that question, were you? I said I wasn't going to be a doctor.
I think Mike should go first.
You think Mike should go first? Okay, I'm here for it.
I want to hear his.
Well, so I've had the privilege of being on the show before. It's been a while, but first.
You've heard that question, haven't you?
I have heard that question. Glad to be back, Coach. Thanks for having me. Mike Twinscrew, live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And my celebrity arranged, and I believe last time I picked Nev Campbell, but I switched it up since then.
Okay.
So my new one, and she's been on my list for quite a while, is Pink. Love it.
Pink? Oh, the singer.
Yep.
I was like, wow. For a minute there, I was like really old. I'm like, what the F is Pink? Yeah, okay. That's an outside-the-box thought. I like it. Ross, we're circling around to you, man.
All right. Ross Napoli, live in New York City. And you and I have definitely done this a couple of times. So that's nothing new there. Although I haven't had this question posed to me, although I've had you I've heard you ask that.
You've heard it?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Celebrity arranged marriage. I think I'll go with Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Ooh.
Hey, what? Look at that! Look at him pull something out.
Yeah, see that?
Yes, that's well done. I salute that.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a tip of the cap, sir.
Yeah, all right, there you go. See, so now I guess Jeff can follow me because now I'm curious, Paisan, where you going with this?
Oh man, you can't put me on the spot. I'm gonna be a married man here soon. You can't do me like that. My name is Jeff Melinyshyn. I am from Chicago, Illinois, and my arranged celebrity marriage. Oh man, there's just so many to choose from. Oh man, see, I'm.
This is not a binding contract, by the way. So.
I was just gonna say you're not gonna be held to it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just because before. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go Demi Lovato.
There you go.
Okay, all right.
Didn't she date Bieber for a while?
Yeah.
Okay, so she'd be trading up then.
Yep.
Excellent. Good choice. Gerald
Let's
right
go.
about now is going, what the hell have I gotten in?
I want to hear BE now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have it, Bruce.
Bruce Robertson, known as BE Robo in the league. I'm from Greenville, South Carolina, and I plan on wedding Margot Robbie.
Ooh.
Nice. A classic good choice right there. You can't go wrong with that one.
No, we'll put her in the makeup and let's see what happens.
Oh, we know about that.
The Harley Quinn makeup?
The Harley Quinn, yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh, Gerald, it's your turn, bro. Let's have it.
All right, I guess I'm up. So I'm Gerald Smith. I'm from Houma, Louisiana. I listen to a lot of coaches' shows. It's a privilege for me to finally be on the show.
It's a privilege to have you, man.
I definitely appreciate that. My celebrity marriage would be Angelina Jolie. Before she made that movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, she was already on my list. And when she made that movie, she only confirmed that she wanted to be a Smith. So
Very good.
Nice.
It only fits now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then she made that foolish decision with that Pitt guy for a while, but now.
Yeah,
now
I mean, I thought I was the top candidate to be cast, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I keep waiting for Halle Berry to return my calls, but it hadn't happened yet, so I guess it's probably not in the cards. I'm joking. I've never called her. No talking. I swear. All right. So, how you guys?
Halle Berry's a good one, though.
Thank you. I think I have pretty good taste. Off season, we got the draft coming up next week, and you guys are just sitting this one out. How you feel about the off season overall? You guys have probably got a lot of feels. It was quite the season, and we'll get into that a little bit. Just general, how you feeling about the off season right now? You relieved? You ready to go? What you got? What you got for me?
I think we made some moves in the seeing how the cap penalty we have against the team, so we had to make some moves that we didn't really want to make to be able to fit under the cap. But the personnel staff from Ross and Robo and Jeff and myself and even Twinscrew kind of came up with a good plan. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the guys who do all the personnel decisions was with the head of it all was Ross. So I just kind of was like, I don't know what I want to do. I wanted to keep everybody if we could, but we just couldn't without making a heavy reduction in player value. So Ross and the guys came up with a pretty good plan, and and they threw it out there, and I was like, yeah, it's not what we really wanted to happen, but the way it kind of unfolded, I think we got we made the best of the situation we were in, and I don't think we, even though we lost a really good player in Storm, I do think we didn't lose all that much with what we were able to shuffle around and get back in. So I think we're looking pretty good going into the season.
You mentioned moves. Probably the big one was having to cut Saren Thorm, I'm guessing, right? That's probably the most painful one.
Yeah.
You think you would have been able to do that without you being able to keep him without the that cap penalty?
We would have had to cut back in some other areas where guys with animations, maybe even some guys in certain areas taking like attribute cuts, and that wasn't something we were willing to ask players to do. Because everybody on the team, whenever I was reinstated, everybody wanted to return to the team. So it was something that we just was like, hey, if we can do it, and then I felt like we were unprepared, and the league didn't do us any favors, or any team any favors for that matter, because we didn't know what the salary cap was going to be, so we didn't know, where we were going to stand on that. So it was kind of unexpected when we had to release Storm. I know he was upset, and we didn't want to do it, but it was so late in the process, and we were hoping that he didn't have trouble finding a spot, because it was so late in the process that we finally got the cap number. So, but I just, we, crunching the numbers and everything else that Ross and the guys did was it just wouldn't have worked, right, to, and ask everybody to take a value cut, just to try and keep it together. And it would have been pretty severe, right? So if it wouldn't have been so heavy, of a cut, by a lot of guys, we probably could have done it, but it was just, everybody had to take kind of a heavy cut, and you didn't, and you don't think that 25 points is that much, but it was a lot. So.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, and it put us in a situation, but we were, the plan the guys came up with was a real good one. And we were able to add, a couple of guys in doing so as well that are definitely going to be huge assets to the team. Yeah.
No, I hear you. Yeah, we sometimes be having conversations. Mainly I have these conversations with that maniac Doug Gay, and I'll be like, hey, I want to do so and so and so, and I'll go, well, we should sign so and so, and I'll say, great, who are we going to cut to do that? And it'll be like, I hadn't thought about that. Once you start looking at it, it's. Ugh, and I hate numbers, so I don't like doing that job. Thank God I don't have to do that job. Before we dig in too much, why don't you guys talk about the promotion staff moves? You guys made a lot of moves. And Ross, if you would break those down for us, would you be so kind?
Sure. Well, obviously, after Gerald was reinstated and after our season concluded, he informed us that we were going to kind of have a little bit of a structure change in the organization, which was going to allow us to focus a little bit more on where Gerald felt the strengths of everybody was, and to be able to bring in some new people as well. So obviously Jeff got his promotion from GM up to president of football operations. Which was well-deserved, because Jeff is single-handedly responsible for customizing the progression plans, working with the guys, how they want their players built and stuff. And he is one of the best, in the league in doing that, as Gerald has let me know when I've asked the questions. It's Gerald is the guy who said, this is a strength of Jeff's, and this is what he needs to be doing for us, which was fantastic, and which led to me being able to be promoted to GM from Jeff's assistant last year. Okay. I've been able to help a little bit more on the personnel side with, filling any of the vacancies we've had during the season. I had a decent input with Gerald and Jeff on that. bringing in guys like Derek and Robo. And so I was already in the mix of helping that stuff out. And then at that point, Gerald had said the assistant GM position would be kind of, up to somebody, or if we had a position that someone could function in for us. And Bruce had definitely reached out during the season to me and had said that he'd like to take a little bit more of a bigger role in the team. And if there was anything that he could do, he had reached out to Jeff and said the same thing. And so when Gerald had said, we can do that, I said that Robo would definitely be the guy for that. And Bruce and I have had, many conversations, and him and I are very much on the same page. So we were really glad to see that he was looking to take on another role and become a member of the front office with us. And obviously with the great job that Mike did stepping in when Gerald was handed down the suspension as our interim head coach, Mike was given the title of offensive coordinator, which they can talk about, obviously the coaching side a little bit more, but well deserved for Mike to have a bigger hand in what's going on, because he had a big part of Louisiana's run this year. And so we've really, I think, Gerald and I have spoken many times, and I'm real excited about the group of guys that we have on the show right here, and this front office and coaching staff that we have, because this is a great group of guys, and we're going to continue to accomplish a lot in this league together.
All right, yeah, that sounds pretty good, Gerald. How much of all of these moves came because of you getting a chance to watch everybody do this while you were suspended? I mean, did you kind of have some of this in mind last season, going into the season? You think, well, we might be able to do this. We're kind of grooming these guys to do this, or was the season a little bit of an eye opener? You're like, okay, we have to do this. Can you give me a little bit of a sense of how the thought process went on that?
I knew these guys when we brought them in. I knew Jeff. I mean, Jeff has been, Jeff and I worked well together when we was in London, in the front office area and stuff like that. So I knew, he would be able to take on any task and be in a higher leadership role whenever I got suspended. So Jeff knows how highly I hold him in holding positions, being able to do the task, anything that's kind of handed out in front of him. As far as Ross, when he came in and the way he impressed us, like from the day one that we drafted him, he broke down the draft after he was finally officially part of the team, like a way I haven't looked at it before. Because before that point, it was just me and Jeff, and I'm sure Jeff would agree at the time that him and I were just overwhelmed, and we're just he's trying to get progression stuff in place for the players we have, and then we're trying to talk to people, and it just was kind of crazy. And Ross came in and gave us a fresh set of eyes on it, so I know his potential was there, and then Mike coming in and coming from a championship winning minor league staff, before we had drafted him, so he had the drive to tackle any task out in front of him already, and I didn't hold anything back. I said, hey, look, what I know, I'm going to try and tell you everything that I know. If you got questions, ask me, and we can run through it. So knowing that all these guys had that potential, when the suspension came down, I felt pretty comfortable, and I had a discussion with the guys as well, and I was like, hey, look, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be suspended. At the time, I didn't know for how long. I said, hey, are you guys on board with just taking it and run with it, and and stuff like that? Do the thing, do the things that you guys are capable of, and they tackled it 100%, and it only allowed me now, like coming into this season, say, hey, look, well, I don't have to do all these things or be as involved and have my hand in all these aspects of the team, because these guys went above and beyond to do all these tasks that were handed out in front of him in kind of a, it was, I don't want to say it was a mess, but the way they had to take over was kind of a mess for him. So I said, if they can come through, and do excellent, with all this adversity thrown at them, I said, there's no way that, these guys can be denied any kind of a roles that they want to achieve on this team, with Mike, with the play calling and doing what he did for the rest of the season. And, Ross and Jeff working together to, keep, all the players on the team motivated and, moving forward to the same goal and having focused on, getting their progressions in and, and on top of that, keeping their spirits up. So, for me, I feel like now, before the suspension, I may have been in a situation where it's like, hey, I got to have my hand in everything. Now they're going 3/4 of the season, without me. It's like, well, hopefully sooner rather than later, I might be a guy who's just being the owner and not doing any coaching or being, super active, and just let these guys do their thing, because they obviously have done an excellent job.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with the results, isn't it? They did a good job.
Exactly. So I mean, for me to just come here and say, move over, I'm taking over everything, that would be just like, yeah, dude, like we did all this stuff in your absence, and now you just want it over, and then it would look so terrible if we just go into this season and we collapse and I have all this control. They'd be like, oh damn, maybe Gerald didn't do anything.
That's funny. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah. But these guys proved, like I said, I knew the potential was there, and I knew they had it, in them, and they just, exceeded any expectations I ever may have had for them. So awesome.
It's definitely credit to them for, pulling through in the manner they did under the circumstances that were out front of as well.
Sure. Well, yeah, if you're going to thrive under those circumstances, that kind of tells you should be good in a, air quotes, normal circumstance. That's for sure. Jeff, you go way back with Gerald here. You just going to follow him everywhere he goes? I'm not judging. I told Charles I'll follow him wherever he goes. Me
and Jeff's going to get married at some point.
Oh man, wouldn't that be something? Oh my God. No, but I mean, we came in around the same time. I mean, he wasn't drafted in the same draft I was, but we were both rookies, quote unquote, with the London organization, and he was brought in as a coach. I was just a player, but I expressed interest in doing something more and helping the team as much as I could. I know I wasn't going to get an Xbox and get the game, so I wanted to try to help in ways that I could help without that. So the whole thing for me was I've been in sales before, so I figured that, well, why not try to be a GM and see what I can do. So going, and especially when I was brought into the league, I joined late, so I had to build. Back then it was building up your chat rank and trying not to spam as much, but also try to just talk just enough to get your rank high enough where you build all that equity in your player, and you can be close to the max as you could as a silver at the time. So for me, it was basically I got under the wing of AJ Francis, who was the running back for the Carolina Skyhawks, but also the GM of them. This was back in season 11. So he really showed me and really got me thinking about what else I can do to help my draft status. So if it was funny, because if it wasn't for London selecting me, and I had no idea they were at 6, I would have went to 7 and I would be in Carolina and I wouldn't even know of Gerald, and we wouldn't have had this bond where when the thing happened with London and the unfortunate circumstances there that have been discussed and all that, but that's water under the bridge now. And then I went to Florida for a year, and in that off season, me and Gerald were talking. We're like, I told him, like, or he brought up to me like, hey, like if I get a team, I mean, it'd be cool to pair up. I was like, yeah, that would be kind of cool. And then I was always like, yeah, just let me, like, just keep me on your radar if you do. And then all of a sudden, it was like throughout season 13, or what was it, season 14 with the with the Florida Storm. I had no idea what he was doing in St. Louis, and lo and behold, in the offseason, he got a team, and then I get a message for him, and it's like, hey, do you want to be the GM? I was like, yeah, I want to be the GM, like, of course. So that's kind of like the branches, or it was already kind of laid out. And the thing is, like, I knew what Gerald can do as a coach, and I knew that he would have some little things cooked up that maybe the league hasn't seen before. And I think it took the league by storm this season. But also keep in mind that when it was just me and Gerald. It was just a 2-man show, and we had a whole new. I basically had to learn a brand new way to with the SFL minor league. And the only way I knew of these players was because I was a broadcaster and I was broadcasting the game. So if it wasn't for that, I would have had no idea who Ross was. I would have no idea who Mike is, and I'd be reaching out to these guys. But being in that broadcast channel and just being able to broadcast these games drew me a little bit closer. But, I mean, the way that Ross, when we brought him in and we were talking to him throughout the rookie process, it was clear that he was going to be somebody that wants to learn and wants to one day. I'm not throwing anything out here that Ross doesn't want me to say, but he wants to own a team one day. And I think the best way to do it is to learn and hands-on experience and what he's getting and having to move and moving up. I mean, what he knows about this league is second to none in terms of players. It is remarkable how much he knows about these players. And I thought I knew, like, some of these players, but I'll tell you, like, I had no idea about some of these players in the draft and whatnot. And his expertise in these minor leagues is second to none. And when we got B, when we signed him, it was, I didn't really know how much that he could do, but then he just kept wanting more and more and more. And then he reached out to me after, of course, he reached out to Ross. He reached out to me, and I was like, we need to get this to Gerald because this needs to go up the pipeline. We have so many. I mean, it is there. We have so many people in the locker room that want to do more and more, and it's like we need more and more spots because it's like Derek was part of an expansion bid. He's in our locker room. He wants to.
Oh, that's right.
He wants to do more. Like, there are so many people in this locker room that just want to do more and more and more. And that was one of the things was Wyo. He can do some of the scouting, and that was some of the talks in free agency. And that could be where we could take some of his stuff, and he could work with some people to help with scouting, and then we're building up our scouting department and all that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, Mike, that's what drew us to him, was he wants to do more and more and more. And just what he showed throughout the season, even though some teams, I'm gonna be real here. Some of the teams were thinking that something else was going on. Nothing's going on. Mike was doing all the work and doing all of that prep work, all of that work that he put in, and it showed that, you know what, we didn't fall under when Gerald was suspended. The reason that we stayed afloat was because each of us kind of took over a different role. I kind of had to move up, but then Ross had to kind of move up, and then Mike had to move up. So it was kind of like a catch-22 where, yeah, we lost our owner, but yet at the same time, it was a combination of us three coming together, and we were like, look, we can't lose this locker room. We got to keep this locker room active. We got to keep progressing. We got to keep just our eyes on the prize. And it was really remarkable what we did last season. And I just think that if it wasn't for Gerald and all that, then we probably wouldn't be where we are, because I mean, we kept everything solid, and it just shows the amount of work that Mike is doing behind the scenes with game planning and all that. He's one of the better coaches in the league, and I think this season, with him moving to the head coach role, it's only going to make him a better coach. It's going to make him a better scout, because the only way to get it is hands-on.
Oh, hey, yeah, I hear that. I was figuring out how to coach when I joined when I was working last. and it was invaluable. But that hands-on experience is it's a big deal. And as far as Ross goes, when he first came to San Jose, he didn't have any ambition at all, and so I really want to take credit for that. And you're welcome. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, it's I mean,
sorry, but
it was weird because I mean, Ross was like, yeah, well, like I want to be a GM, and I'm like, well, yeah, talk to me throughout the season. I don't even think he messaged me once. That's Ross though. I mean, he knows so much about these players that, I mean, it was like, okay, like, yeah, like Ross, you're right because you're giving me all this information, and it's like you can't say no to that. I mean, it's remarkable just like how connected he is in this league, and probably not a lot of people know that until you really dig down and you see where Ross has been and how many people he's connected with.
Well, again, it's kind of hard to argue with the results, and Ross has got great instincts. But so does Mike, apparently. Mike, moving on to you, bro. So any hesitation at all? I'll tell you, the reason I ask is when I was announced as the OC for Lone Star last season, I got about 5 DMs. Congratulations and good luck. It's a hard job. And I was like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. Did you get any of that from anybody, or did you get any? You get support? What'd you get?
I got a couple DMs from guys. One was. And going back to the minor leagues, one was from Jacob Clear.
Oh, okay.
Who I really owe a lot to at the beginning of all this, being the one of the scouts for Madison last season, and really got to kind of take a look at some of the coaching aspects, at least how Jacob did it. And we talked a lot. We had a lot of communication between the scouting and the playbook every week. So a lot goes out to Jacob, and me and him still talk quite a bit, actually, probably at least once or twice a week we're chatting. He's really a great dude. If you guys have never talked to him, great dude. Going into the season, once I got drafted by Louisiana here, Gerald had taken me under right away. The plan was for me to scout in kind of an assistant coach role, I think was the title that was given. But he really gave me the reins, I'll say, to the offense. We had the student driver mounted on top of the car, but he kind of gave things to me, and I made up a couple of playbooks the first few weeks, and each time he would go through everything with me and say, this won't work because of, he was working on defensive stuff and the offensive stuff, but this won't work because they're doing this on defense, or whatever the case may be. He would explain to me why something wasn't going to work or wouldn't work, especially in the sims. So we did that for the first, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So as things happened, and I moved up, I was taking all those, now when that happened, Coach, I reached out to you, and one other coach in the league. I won't say because that one didn't reply back, but you gave me just a different perspective of what to look at as far as just base coaching goes. And I held that with me the rest of the season, and I really appreciate that.
It was actually helpful?
It was actually helpful. Absolutely, awesome. It was helpful. So between, what I got from Jacob Clear and what I got from Gerald at the beginning of the season, and then what I got from you, just going into, it was a lot of work, that's for sure. Doing offense and defense and all the scouting and everything like that. Yeah, that was my week. The scoutings and running 30 to 40 sims probably every week. Yeah. To figure out what would work and what wouldn't. But I did have some people
don't
reach
know,
out.
do they?
No.
They
if
don't
they're not
know,
doing it,
do
they don't
they?
know. Even just scouting alone, they don't know. So it was fantastic. I enjoyed it. I really loved doing it. And talking with these guys at the end of the season, we talked about, positions of promotion and things like that. And I have no desire to be an owner, no desire to be a GM. I don't like the personnel stuff. I like the chess match. So I want to stay in the coaching. And I didn't want to go into the head coaching role. I'm good with the offensive coordinator because I want to learn little by little as seasons go on so that I can be the best in the league at what we do. And that's my plan.
Yeah, and that's the thing with how we built this, or how Gerald built this, I should say, not how we built it, because it was all Gerald's doing it, of course, because he's the owner. But I mean, what you heard from Mike, and then what you hear from Ross, and then myself, and you'll hear from B. I'm sure Coach has some questions cooked up for the newbie on this team. So, but it's just, we want to be the best in the league. And coming into this, I mean, that was the thing, was we didn't really see a team like this before. And Gerald and myself always talked about the Patriots, because that was like the super team. I mean, I mean, yeah, everybody like makes fun of them and whatnot, but
not me.
What they have though in place, from the owner on down to the coaching staff, is everything is like the best, and there's a method to it. So we're like, let's be the Patriots of the SFL, because I mean, yeah, you've had Florida / Alaska be they won 3 in a row, but they were doing something that not a lot of people could have game planned for. And I remember, like, me and Gerald would just have talks like, boy, like, look at what Florida / Alaska is doing. He's like, yeah, I could stop them. I mean, that's just the mentality that you have to have, is I want to go against the best. And it's just remarkable how this team has come together. And I have no doubt that Mike is going to be one of the best head coaches in this league, just because I know what Gerald can do from a head coaching, and I know what he did in London and what he did with St. Louis. I mean, that kind of got overlooked. But he took St. Louis to their first playoff run, and it ended prematurely. But you know what? I mean, I had no doubts that we could do great things here, and that was the thing with Ross. Boy, I mean, as soon as we got him on board, it was like all the dominoes fell into place. We got him in the first round, and a lot of people kind of like barked, or kind of were like, really, DE, like Ross in the pick number 6, I believe we were, or in the top 5 maybe, but it was what he brought to the table.
Well, I heard it somewhere. You're more than the number next to your name. Some jackass said that somewhere. I'm not sure. Who.
Great advice.
A bunch. We've heard that.
Well, and I've said before, I've said publicly on my show, I've said in other situations, Gerald was a huge help to me, standing off some of the things with the playbook, and that's another part. He's very generous with his time and his knowledge, and so Lone Star owes a lot of our success last season to Gerald, because of him helping us with some of the playbook stuff that we figured out as well. I'm always going to be rooting for you guys. If we're on the schedule, it's okay to go 11-1, and we'll just meet each other in the championship every year, and everyone else can piss off, as far as I'm concerned. Bruce, I haven't forgotten about you, man. And I do have a very important question for you, and everyone's going to want to know this. How have you stayed friends with Dave Axis for so damn long?
He lived in California for most of that time. So we had about 2,000 miles in between us. And
that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, it does help. But now he's moved to Knoxville, and is only about a 2.5-hour drive away. And I slid up there a couple weeks ago and spent the weekend with him. And but Dave's a great guy. You guys all know Dave. He's a little over the top, but one of the best people you'll ever meet.
He is, absolutely. Yeah. I just have to. It's just kind of it's one of my show foundational principles. Shot at Dave every chance.
Yeah, you got to throw a shot at it, for sure.
As it should be.
Yeah. Well, okay, but moving into the league stuff, the more important stuff, because obviously with Dave being that close, the friendship is on its last leg.
Yeah.
You when you came into the league, did you have a position you wanted to play, or did you just want to play? I mean, what was your deal?
Yeah. I put a lot of thought into it, and I was like, the game of football has really moved to the tight end. The tight end has become a very strong piece, a chess piece, so to speak, of the offense of a lot of teams. And so I'm like, the tight end's kind of cool. I think that's where I fit in, because I don't necessarily need to have be the quarterback or the running back. I just want to be the guy who, when there's a third down and we need to pick up 8 or 10 yards, maybe I'm the guy they throw it to. And
Sure.
That's kind of the way we did in Louisiana. So I chose the spot of tight end, and landed on Salt Lake. So I was in the minor leagues. Actually, never played a game in the minors.
Right.
But luckily Ross and Mike were there, and we were able to. I started kind of building up a little chat thing. I actually started a little feud with Bo Martin Jr. He was in Salt Lake as well, and I gave him a whole lot of crap when he decided to leave us and go to London. And knowing good and well that Ross and I were already talking about Louisiana, but little did I know Bo is blown up and everybody in the league knows him. But I had a chance to kind of give him some junk in the locker room, and I think that got noticed by Ross and some of the other coaches. And when the tight end position opened up at Louisiana, Ross was he was my guy. He came to me and said, I want you to do this, and I think you'd be great at it. And he convinced Gerald and Jeff that maybe I'm the right guy for the position. And luckily, I mean, let's face it. The plan was, when I first joined the league, was when draft time came along, Lone Star was going to pick me up. So we almost were teammates. But
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that was going to happen.
yeah. So we almost did that. But after joining this team, and I got interviewed by all three guys, Gerald, Jeff, and Ross. And let me tell you, these conversations were more than an hour long each.
I believe it.
They invest a lot of time into the personnel, and they want to make sure the right people are coming. And luckily, I fell right at home, and just was lucky enough to land on this team. Unfortunately, we immediately faced some controversy, not only with our owner but with my player. And I really don't want to get into all that, but you guys have talked about it in the past. And we worked through it. We worked through it as a group, as a family. And once the season ended, and I knew Ross was being promoted, I put my name in the hat. I was like, well, if there's a vacancy, I'd love to fill it. So as Mike alluded to, he's not really a personnel guy. I feel like I am. I feel like I really like talking to people and getting to know a lot of people and developing those relationships with other players. So it was a perfect fit to go to Louisiana. I could not be happier. I love this team. I love what we're doing, and I love where we're going. So I'm happy to be part of this office.
Well, I hope so, because then they moved you away from tight end and brought in Frank Wade. So what
they
the
sure
heck,
did.
man?
They sure did. That's
Frank's
where
a good guy.
Yeah, Frank's great. And again, Frank brings a lot to a team. So he's a valuable member. They approached me and said, hey, would you be interested in wide receiver? And of course, we looked at it from a how do we make our team better aspect, not just on the field, but off the field. And the move to wide receiver made a whole lot of sense. So I am now a wide receiver. So and I'm pretty tall, so you guys better watch out. If you're defending me, you better be able to jump high. So, but no, I'm looking forward to it. To be honest with you, I'm really looking forward to returning kicks. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a guy on our team ask if he can return kicks this year, and I was like, after the draft, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And inwardly, I'm going, no, you can't. But we'll have that discussion.
Sure.
Wow, I just had a concussion moment, so I'm just going to let that question go.
Yeah,
you had a couple.
Bruce knows that if he can't return kicks, the goat's waiting in the wings. So
yeah, I know Jeff is salivating to do that job. So I better do something good.
Nah.
Oh, I thought Jeff was talking about my player. I thought he was talking about my player. Right? He's talking about his player. Okay.
I figured he was talking to the third person. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, why not have a defensive end returning kicks?
I want to see that. Happen.
Of course.
We actually,
my
first season as a linebacker in Vancouver, we were supposed to be doing a bunch of stuff in the off season, and Andy gave me a roster file, and I don't know what was going on with it, but I was outside linebacker. Well, I fired the thing up in the first kickoff. My guy's returning kicks. I was like, that's what? It was not successful. I'm just going to tell you that much. It was not successful, and we did not consider it as an option.
Yeah, I feel Mike right now is like, God, I hope they're joking about Ross working returning kicks. He does not need to see that in Sims. We don't want to do
a couple of Sims. I mean, can we just see a couple of Sims and see how it goes? I mean, let's not just throw it out the window. I mean, let's see it.
Hey, I mean, if Ross is going to bulldoze some people bringing back the kicks, I'm all for it. If it works.
There we go. Who cares? Slowest kick return in history, but if everybody goes down,
I would like to see what Reggie can do returning kicks, but that would be a story for another day.
Is that even an option? Can you put return specialist on a running back? I don't even know.
I don't think
somebody
so.
would have tried it by now.
Yeah,
that'd be nuts.
No, it's the running backs can't return kicks at all. It's like, yeah, so it's not even an option for any team. It would be interesting, but I think what happens is there's a lot of kick returns for touchdowns when you have a running back like
it's too OP.
It would be, sure. Yeah, absolutely. We touched on your off-season acquisitions a little bit. You got Frank the Franchise Wade, as Dave always says, or Garrison Blue. That's his player name, right? I just call him Frank. Mm-hmm. Garrison Blue, yeah. Anthony Weil. That one surprised me a little bit. Just he's got a reputation in chat, but sounds like I know you guys vetted him, and you guys have the culture in place. I'm sure.
Yeah, I can actually talk about that one. He actually said like who's the GM for Louisiana, and I think someone tagged me. So then that's how I became aware of it, and then it just took off from there. And I didn't know. I had no idea. Yeah.
He reached out to you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he said something in chat like who's the GM for Louisiana.
I got you.
And then that's how that started. But I mean, of course, it has to go up the food chain. So went to Gerald, and I was actually really surprised because I knew I never had. I mean, he's been there long. He's been in the league longer than I have. And me and him have never had a conversation before, so I had no idea. I only knew of his personality, just like everybody else. But isn't that sort of like the whole Johnny thing, persona? So to me, it was like, if I'm the owner right now, I'm like, I'm getting this contract done. So I had to run it up to Gerald, and we had our conversation, and when free agency opened and we sat down and talked to him, it was a no-brainer.
Nice. Okay. You made those two moves, and boom, no draft picks to be needed. How's that feel? You feel good about that? I mean, I certainly know you thought we would re-sign everybody, and then just, things happen. Guys left the league. we're not disappointed to be in the draft, certainly, but how does it feel for you guys to be like, okay, we got this off week to just kind of chill out? Good feeling, bad feeling, indifferent? What is it? Let's go with, we haven't heard from Gerald for a few minutes. Let's ask Gerald first.
It feels odd, if that's if that's even a thing, because all these seasons I've been in here, we've always had draft picks, or had a place to fill, a spot to fill, or something like that. It just kind of feels like just it's odd, right? Because we always just are prepping for something, to build the team, season, every single season. So for us to be done and complete, and us to be, just sitting back watching everybody else, you're just like, all right, now what? Right? It feels it feels good, because we got guys that given our circumstances, guys we wanted and everything else, and guys that fit exactly what we wanted. So it does. I mean, it feels good. So, and the good thing about it is that our team is set, and we can start critiquing our game plan to put our guys in the best possible positions to be successful on the field. So that is a plus that maybe some of the other teams don't quite have yet. That we're kind of, we're built. So now we can just start kind of critiquing stuff, game planning, and changing things and all that stuff. So, but that's, while it feels good, it just feels odd, because we're, I'm just not used to having everything done so soon.
Sure.
So it just feels kind of odd, but it's a good odd feeling, I guess.
I got you. Mike, you got your offense all set? You ready for week one? Who have you got week one?
So, I'll bring it. We got Vancouver, I think, week one.
Oh, okay.
Which is good.
Thanks, Cam.
Sim's getting ready to start already. But what I'll do to answer your question is, when the things happen midway through the season, and we won a couple of games, and then we lost a game, and in our locker room, I told everybody, hey, my fault. I'll have a better game plan, next week, whatever the case may be, and everybody backed me. Not your fault, Sims, AI, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But everybody had my back, 150%. This locker room, even when those things happened midway season, there was not a negative word in our locker room, period, by anybody.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So to continue with the same people that we have, first of all, is great for me for the offense, because I already know what I have to work with. Really, the only thing I'm fitting in is Frank. To go to Frank quick, me and Frank back in the minor league, we talked about trying to get on the same team.
Nice.
So me and Frank are pretty tight anyway. This was his number one place he wanted to be. And I'm so happy that the front office got him here. One of the best dudes in the league, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm happy as offensive coordinator, happy that I already have everything set. I don't have to wait any longer like most of the other teams do. I can get Sims rolling. I already know who week one is. I know their offensive coordinator. I know, hey, I'm ready to go. So
nice.
Get the next season started. Happy to have Frank and Anthony on the team, in addition to having everybody back. Obviously, a couple of changes, but I'm excited and ready to go.
Cool. That's fantastic. Yeah, we shifted gears just in case what we're thinking is going to happen in the draft doesn't happen, and I didn't like it very much. And then I thought of Sims. I thought, okay, I can work with this. But I'm sure knowing what you've got is really, really nice. So that's awesome. And good luck against Vancouver. We'll be rooting for you on that one. We get Florida. Again, thank Cam for trying to make that a rivalry or something.
Right.
And I'm trying to make it a lopsided SOB is what I'm trying to do. That's my
Well, you guys had two great games last season.
We
awesome
did.
Games.
We did, yeah. And well, I'm not going to dwell on that.
Yeah, I actually called that playoff game. So I mean, that was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was a good playoff game, even though it came up short for obviously Lone Star in the end.
Well, it running the Sims, we would either blow their doors off, or that would happen. And I was like, God, if we're hanging around, I feel like something's going to happen, a special teams or a pick six or something. And I just had this feeling. I was just like, God, we gotta get a couple of touchdowns here. And when we settled for field goals, I was like, okay, I know what sim I'm getting right now. And sure enough, it happened. It was a hell of a game, though. I mean, for people just watching it, I'm sure that was a fun game. And it's part of the deal. I've been doing real football long enough to know you lose sometimes. So, so we talked a little bit about the cap implications of the penalty, the big one being Sharon Thorne. Let's talk about the upcoming season. And I thought of a question I want to ask. On your team, do you think you've got a breakout player? I'm gonna go around to all of you. Do you think there's going to be a player that maybe people didn't hear from a lot last season that you're going to hear from this season? Who do you think that might be? And we're going to start with Ross, because I like putting him on the spot.
Breakout player. Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on what you categorize as a breakout player. If it's going to along the lines of what you said, that people didn't really hear a lot of last year, I'm probably going to go on the defensive side of the ball, because of the changes we made on offense. Obviously, we lost the wide receiver, and everybody kind of moved up, and our tight end moved over, and we got a new tight end. And I mean, it's clear that Reggie Streeter is Reggie Streeter, right? So I mean,
right.
I'm not going to say Reggie's going to be breakout season, and
yeah, I'm going to disqualify him. I'm just going to straight up do that.
But I would say with the moves that we've made, I think it could actually be Jeff's player. Not that you didn't hear a lot of Jeff's player, because his player stepped up big when we lost Nathan Blake, which was Gerald's player. I think that Jeff's player is one that's probably going to benefit on the field with just how great Tank Bennett's player played last year. Just how great we think Wyo's player is coming to that team, along with Rolliman Hood and Evan Arthur, and then getting Gerald's player back, who was leading the league in interceptions in week 5 before we lost him.
Right.
So we have this plethora of defensive backs. And we clearly, I believe we led the league in turnovers last year, right?
Yep. I think so, yeah.
The best turnover differential, or if we didn't lead the league in turnovers, we were tied, but we led in turnover differential. We had a record-setting defense that played a part to where we were. And I do think with the shifting of a couple of those players in there, with the way that we play defense, I definitely think that Jeff's player could be the one you hear a lot more, especially if teams, think that they're going to try to throw on us to win.
Where are you going to be, Jeff? What's different this year from last year?
No, I'm just moving back to free. I'm just moving back to strong safety from free safety.
Okay. How many DBs?
It was original. It was my original draft position where I played for London. What was your question about the DBs?
How many DBs? You got 5 back there?
We got 6.
6. Okay.
Yeah, we got Evan Arthur and Evan Arthur and Rolliman Hood as the corners, Nathan Blake and Anthony Wyo, and then Bennett and myself.
Okay. Yeah. I forgot about Arthur. I was like, I knew there was something getting. I was like, it sounds like 6. Okay. Well, question to you then, since we got you, who's going to be the breakout player for you guys this year?
Well, I'm kind of cheating just because I've done all the progressions for these guys.
That's all right.
I've written them down, and I'm actually looking at my notepad right now that I have. It's literally like 6 pages because I like to do them hand out week by week, not on a Excel spreadsheet or Google document, just because even though I'm a millennial, I like the old school of writing it out. But for me, man, breakout player. There's going to be. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be somebody on the defensive line. Just because after talking to them, just getting their feel for what they want to do. Okay. I think it could either. I know Ross used myself or Ross said myself, and I appreciate that. But I'm going to be taking a back seat to Tank Bennett, so he can have all the he can have all the praise again. He's just going to be a baller again this season. But
when is he not?
After the season that Luther Gond had, it's like okay, well if they're going to game plan for him, I think it's either going to be one of the defensive ends.
And that was the Louisiana Revolution front office. I hope you enjoyed that. Always a pleasure to sit around and talk with you guys. Side note, we kept chatting for almost 2 hours after we wrapped the show. So that tells you how well we were getting along. But a lot of that wasn't fit for publication, shall we say? Maybe on Access Live. Anyway, that's all we got for you today. I apologize again for the abrupt ending. Like I said, a little bit of a technical error with my recording, but you got the good stuff. You got the stuff I wanted you to get. And we're going to do more. Like I said, we're going to do more. This has been Coach's Corner, brought to you by Epic eSports. Hope you have a great day, and as always, good luck and God bless, my friends.
You've been listening to the Coach's Corner podcast with Coach Brian Craven, an Epic Esports Radio Network exclusive. If you enjoyed today's show, tell a friend. Make sure never to miss an episode by subscribing to Epic Esports on YouTube or downloading on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and be sure to enable all notifications so you never miss our newest content. Thank you for listening.